Good evening, kindred. I am Teranz, and welcome back to more Vampire the Masquerade Shadows of New York. Last time we found Kaiser, beat the crap out of him to try to get some information, made Kadir mad at us, and then made our lady friend mad at us. So, par for the course. I my guess is this is going to be the last episode. I don't know for sure. There may be one more, but I'm going to shoot for about half an hour for this video, and if it ends up if I'm that's if there, it depends on how much stuff is left. But if it gets to about half an hour, then I will probably cut it off. And actually, no, what I'll do is I will do a quick new intro just in case and set it up as a second video. Anyway, I think I know what I'm going to do. Anyway, with that being said, let's rest and continue to the next night. For me, it always starts with an image. An image which might be vaguely eerie or interesting, but usually not an image that would provoke particularly strong feelings by itself. Usually it hides a mystery. That much is correct. That mystery doesn't exist without a text, or more specifically, a context. Context is everything. One way or another, you need to process what you're looking at. Maybe that context will be something you've heard or overheard. Maybe, although it's quite rare and pretty special, it will be your own creative, captivating, complete interpretation. A ghost of an idea. Is this a half-forgotten memory of something unspeakably beautiful I will never see again? Just a scene from a movie, a fragment of a music video, an animation, or maybe this is really the last thing Callahan ever saw or maybe this really is the last thing Callahan ever saw in his own life? Warm sunbeams caress his skin and turning to ash, a giant ball of fire engulfing his body in flame from 93 million miles away? Was he terrified? Was he grateful? There's no way, there's no will, no suicide note, no nothing. Instead, we can only count on what the local historians will write, presumably letting their biases shape the narrative one way or another. What am I looking at here? A horrible, laughable hall of mirrors? A creep whom I never ever want to see again? A vampire much more despicable than myself? Or maybe someone who loved taking care of me and deserved to be taken care of for in return? Funny thing, whenever I was high as a kite, mentally lost in dimensions parallel to ours, she was my anchor. Our shared history, my feelings for her were an anchor. Matthew McConaughey returning to his estranged daughter from the other side of the cosmos, from beyond the event horizon, guided by nothing but love. Then, whenever I got back to planet Earth for a week or two, I was haunted by a memory of that affection. I was the best possible version of myself towards her. But that haunting always refused to transfigure into something real. What gradually took its place were angry, disappointed thoughts, and among them, one thought that I was always trying to suppress. I needed someone who'd know how to raise me up spiritually, but all I have is a sycophant who's always working her ass off to lift me up without understanding what I need. It's hurting us both. Having these words pop in my head hurt me because they had a ring of truth to them. But also because I knew there must be another narrative, a better narrative. I was just too stupid to find it. Story of my life, story of my own life. I still have no idea what to think about this city. I had my best city in the world phase, I had just a playground for wealthy fucktards phase, and now I'm in search of a better description. One day, probably I will stumble upon a piece of writing or a prestigious TV show scene that will contain just that, and suddenly I will look at this place with new eyes. Or maybe I won't. It's like the frustrations I had back at Lodestar, all these words constantly trailing behind reality, trapping you in useless mindsets instead of bringing enlightenment. Fuck all those flashy writers whose main concern is furthering their own brand. Douchebags who present to you with limited, pathetic, depressing realities where they are kings. Fuck them all to hell. We need words that will paint a brighter future before our eyes. But what if that can't be done without reinterpreting the past first? What if we haven't even defined the ills and threats correctly? Once again, my thoughts return to the same visual that has been tormenting me for almost every waking moment of this past week. A senseless demise devoid of any context, a crime scene stripped of evidence, an image created by an unknown artist designed to leave you dumbfounded. The investigation is over, all possible avenues explored, all the non-testimonies are in, no concrete evidence found, play is almost complete, the actors are ready to leave the stage. It is what it is. I failed as a detective, maybe through no fault of my own, but again, it is what it is. In this case, this scene, this picture never needed an investigator. From what I understand, all the people in charge ever wanted was a talented writer. What if? A ghost of an idea. When I wake up, Dakota's still not here. I don't know how to feel about that, so I just don't. Kadir hasn't left any messages by the door. Still that mad, huh? He'll probably appeal to the court to take me off the case, and if half of the garbage Kaiser was spouting is correct, shouldn't have much trouble convincing everyone. I look at the mirror and stare at my warped non-reflection. This place is upsetting. Need a change of scenery, girl. The depressing streets of a lockdown New York City will do. I think of God. Maybe that's why I half-consciously picked the cathedral as my destination. I think of the silver cross adorning my chest, an empty signifier. Whenever someone asks me why I wear it, they hear a different story. I think of these silhouettes that keep popping up, that I keep spotting from the corner of my eye. No, I don't even want to imagine what that means. I feel what it means, and it makes me nauseous enough. I think of my clan, so closely tied to the Catholic Church. It's a loveless marriage, so to speak. Like, for example, the one between my parents. I think about the great irony of the Lasombra's truce with the Holy See. We are the only ones who stay so close to the Lord's light, even though we're certain we will never ever reach it. Some of us shadows have visions of comrades who departed this world recently, traveling through some abstract space, one that's disturbing and astonishing in equal measures. They almost reach whatever afterlife there is for our kind, but then get caught and consumed by a dark, monstrous silhouette. The rumor is our antediluvian wasn't stopped by his final death. He's still out there behind the shadows, taking revenge for our patricide, feeding on us like Saturn devouring his children. As Dakota would say, it might not be factual, but it is an emotional truth. From joining the Camarilla to panically scrambling for any safe house, it's like our elders are solely motivated by fear. The sins of our fathers are catching up with them, and it's young kindred like me who are given the responsibility of cleaning up their mess with the constant sense of doom looming over the horizon. We don't talk about salvation anymore, we're just minimizing the impact of damnation. That's no way to live, but then again, maybe that's why they call it unlife. Shit, it's Benoit. Hello there, lost sheep. I'll have you know this shepherd was extraordinarily patient in waiting for you. What are you doing here while the night So young. Out for blood? Well, you're in luck. This place offers both the body and blood. If missionaries learned their methods from pickup artists, they would all be like this guy. I'm not in the mood, you sorry ass bum. Step the fuck away from me or you're going to be sorry. Oh my, something troubling you? If so, I can arrange a confession. Or if you're in a hurry, keep in mind, the path from inner turmoil begins with a friendly ear, and I've got one right here. Words I'm not even going to try to pronounce. You just want me to fuck you up, don't you? Don't you? Julia, you should know by now. I always interpret this kind of response to preaching the divine as the devil stirring inside. Is that what it is, Julia? The liar and the father of lies got a hold of your soul? If so, give me a signal, even the smallest one. I'll do my best to spot it. Something swells up inside my chest. I recognize the feeling. The handbrake just broke and I'm definitely not on level ground. Fuck. Here we go. Listen, I've had enough, alright? Enough. Enough of your sanctimonious attitude, enough of your brazen lack of basic empathy, enough of your dumb, ugly fucking mug. Your fucking singularity of stupidity, tastelessness, and cringe. I met all sorts of horrible shitheads and assets this week, and somehow none of them got under my skin the way you do, you motherfucker. Like a goddamn Jehovah's Witness going from door to door, except you're always knocking on my fucking skull, going, hey, do you know God exists? Have you heard that God exists? Like, hold on, hold it right there. When did I ever say that God exists? What? I said, what makes you think I believe God exists? Oh, now you're just fucking with me. No, I'm serious. Well, he sounds serious. At least, I'm actually speechless. I think there's been some sort of silly misunderstanding that desperately needs to be cleared up. I am all ears. I sure hope so, Julia. I feel like you must have ignored half of what I've been saying for you to reach these conclusions. That's very well possible, actually. It usually takes 15 seconds of him talking to get me completely zoned out. So, to avoid any further mix-ups, I will go back to the beginning and explain the core of my religious beliefs, okay? So, I love the Catholic imagery. I cherish the tradition and lore. I adore the practices, the intricacies of theology, the messages contained in the Bible. Of course I do. Does that mean that I believe that one day I will see the big dad in the sky? Forgive me, Lord, but I don't think so. Doesn't sound very likely, especially for a bloodthirsty creature of the night. So, that's what this is about? Fun imagery? That's overly simplified, but yes, I suppose you could say that. Motherfucker, you ain't Catholic, you're just a weirdo cosplayer, says a non-practitioner who still wears a cross. Yeah, but I don't shove it down people's throat for fun in my spare time. I'm simply trying to share the joys religion has brought to my own life with others. What joys? Oh, where to start when there are so many? The joy of having plainly understandable rules to follow, the joy of having a structure to your life, the joy of always knowing where to find people who share your values. Above all, it's the joy of being an aristocracy, surrounding oneself with exquisite luxurious architecture, beautiful classical music, ornate rituals formalizing our actions and relationships. A pursuit of virtue separating yourself from the masses. The hierarchies, the communities, all serving an idea greater than themselves. It's like in monarchy or some Camarilla traditions, but not as gauche. So that's it. You saw pretty paintings and buildings and thought, hell yeah, I want in? And then you just decided what they mean to you? Oh, don't get me wrong. It's real faith that brought me into the fold. But eventually, I whittled down this religion to its core, to what interests me. Unbelievable. But don't think for a second I wasn't empathetic when I was trying to convert you. You're the embodiment of existential despair surrounding us. The one that people usually try to drown out with drugs, sex, work, Netflix, pick your poison. All of them temporary copes. Empty yourself. Kill your ego. Get a routine. Join a community. Ground your morality in something tangible. Start perceiving yourself as part of something greater. All of it good advice by itself, but codify an appealing otherworldly aesthetic, one that keeps the beast at bay, when you're almost fitting into the way you are. What's there to hate? Unbelievable. You're a goddamn lunatic. He looks to the sky. Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. Oh, excuse me. Stop that. Your entire ideology is just aesthetics, you fucking loon. And how exactly do I differ from anyone else nowadays in this regard? Stop arguing semantics. No, you stop. Just look at yourself. A privileged burnout who refuses to invest yourself in anything. Only started committing to anything when, for once in your own life, you're forced into a politically charged, dangerous task. Once it's over, you'll be back to being an aimless brat. Desire to murder increases. Ever since World War II, I've been watching every person and every ideal I care about wither and disappear. That's the source of my pain. That is the reason I am what I am. The source of your pain, the thing that defines you, people have been mean to you. Fuck off. People in third world countries keep their heads high while suffering from every sort of horror, but you have a complete mental breakdown every time you remember you have mommy issues. Wow, classy. Oh, don't act like you have the high ground here, you obvious sadist. All I'm saying is everyone has a different framework, a different lens to view their suffering through. Yes, and if there's one thing abandoning your humanity has shown you, is that kind frameworks are not enough. Petty vendettas, childish romances, pointless power struggles, the dumb gamble that's chasing a successful career, mommy and daddy issues, sure, why not? Pain and pleasure dictate everything. Everyone wants something bigger than this. They want to escape from this drudgery. They want psychedelia, but permanent. They want to stare at God's face even if he does not exist. And you can show them how. Accept the cross you're wearing into your heart, Julia. Accept it. Creepy fucker. Just accept it. Alright, that'll be enough, Benoit. The mood changes in an instant. The sight of Father Leonard takes us both aback. Father, what are you doing here so early? You two are arguing so loudly I had to come out and check. Even with all the panic on TV these days, simply walking outside feels like marching into a war zone. Yeah, I'm sorry. You should be. I was willing to turn a blind eye to your quirks, mostly because I believe you have your heart in the right place, mostly. I'm very disappointed in the way you approach folks in need. Right now, Benoit Segal is displaying all the confidence of a scolded teacher's favorite. I was just trying to guide her, to set her on the right path. I know, Benoit. I know. That's the problem. The sacred sacristy is open. Please head there right now. We need to have a long talk. Get me some coffee, if you wish. But, Benoit. He slowly slinks away, looking defeated, deflated, debased. I burn the moment into my retinas, etched on my soul. I kind of hope I'll never have to see him again, and this is how I'll remember him. Father Leonard watches him closely until he disappears from sight, then turns to me. I feel sorry for him. I keep hoping he might find some basic empathy through faith, but all I've done thus far is let him leave you at the end of your tether. Yeah, some faith he has. Are you okay with all the bullshit he's spouting? Huh. I don't exactly support it, but I don't reject it. It's like attrition and contrition. Imperfect and perfect. Repentance, Oh, imperfect and perfect repentance. You know, one focused on a relationship with God, but the other selfish and focused on personal gain. But both of them work. Yeah, but doesn't it strike you as completely missing the point? A bit, but a purely secular takes on Christ's teachings are nothing new. Pascal's Wager is a boring example, but have you by chance read Bulgakov's The Master and the Margarita? Sure, back in Poland, every teen trying to look intellectual online loved to repeat that joke about the talking cat who swears he never pour vodka for a lady because women deserve pure alcohol. That's one takeaway from that novel, I suppose. I read it as a moving depiction of Christ, who's not a divine being, stripped of mythic qualities, but open for transcendence. Jesus and Satan, understood as powerful forces battling within us. Would have to read it again. It's been too long. Sounds nice though. I stretch lazily and take out another smoke. Leonard watches me closely before speaking up again. Julia. 4 hours from now, there's going to be a meeting in the Elysium, the big finale of Celebrations of Power. Everyone will be there, but they were counting on you not to show up. The good sheriff plans to present the results of the investigation in your stead. It's a simple, crude strategy. Might work, but begs to be countered with an outrageous tactic. Take it as you will. The game is about to end. Momentarily, I'm left dumbfounded. All I can muster is an eloquent, eh? Oh, don't ask me. I'm just the messenger. Who relayed this message to you then? A good friend, a cautious friend. Wouldn't be able to tell you more than that even if you forced me. Well, shit. This moment might decide the rest of my days. What would you do in my place, Father? When I was faced with a dilemma that would shape the rest of my life, the world felt too big and scary and impossible to understand. So I simply escaped from that choice into the seminary. Yeah, and if that's your idea of good advice, I'm going to have to ask you to shove it. I would expect nothing less. Don't you regret it? Regret what? You're kind of shady, but don't seem like a bad guy. Still, you have to accept the people above you are responsible for some horrible things. If our superiors' acts counted as our own sins, then on the face of it, probably half the people in this world are irredeemable. Clever, but not a real answer. And being a low-level grunt for assholes you find wholly objectionable is no way to live. I don't know, is it? I finish the smoke in silence. I have to go. Don't know if and when we'll see each other again, but when that happens, I probably won't be the same old me. Of course, but before I leave to scold Benoit, let me say one more thing. Yeah? These are difficult times. My parishioners keep calling me. The things people are going through, they might never admit, but if this keeps up, it will cause horrifying, invisible damage to the nation. A dreadful darkness is killing us all little by little, and like every powerful evil, it manifests itself little by little. And yet, sinful as it may be, I confess to be strangely excited. For a moment, we're seeing this suffocating normal disappear. This is the time to dream a new world is possible. Walk these empty streets, Julia. Remember how the city feels right now. Bask in its shadows and uncertainties. After the apocalypse comes the great rebirth. The Emissi Noctis awaits your next report with great curiosity. I give him a nod and I sprint away. Now I know what I must do.